Hello again. Long time no see. My name is Raphael, and today we have a rather special task at hand because last winter my underground heating pipe developed a leak. Now, the only way I can heat this entire house is with the hydronics behind me, which means I have a boiler outside. I heat with wood and it circulates water into the floor in the house. Now I have to fix it. So we have about 150 feet of new, very expensive heating pipe that I have to get into the ground. And I want to move the furnace because right now in some weather conditions the smoke actually gets pushed down and you can smell it inside the house some days in the winter. And this is why I also am going to move the furnace further away. I already prepared getting some of the stuff I need to build the pad. This is a 5 foot by 5 foot pad which is 6 inch high. I'm going to leave a small spot here right in the center to get the pipes up, because this way they won't protrude too much. So I need to pour that concrete pad today and then also get the excavator going to get the pipe into the ground. Now, one thing I'm going to do differently here is I'll actually wet pour this. The other pad on the other side I dry poured, and the concrete is cracking like crazy and it literally has no strength. So I don't know where that trend on YouTube comes from, dry pouring. I tried it out, it sucks. Not going to do that again. So I'll get some reinforcement mesh in there, and then for the first part of the video you're going to see me shoveling a lot of concrete around. Alright, the pad is done. I'll pan around in a second. I think this was maybe an hour of me doing it by myself. I had about 40-60 pound concrete bags bought for this endeavor, and well, I usually like to buy more so that I don't run too short. So this is how the pad looks right now. I think this will be really nice. The major thing for me will be that the pipe will come out here. The pipe that's going to be installed is a rhinoflex, and it's 4.5 inch in diameter, and I used a cut up from a sonotube which is 8 inch, so this will fit snugly. I just need to let this settle and dry out a bit before I can do anything here. So you're not going to see me move the furnace. However, I will be digging and installing the pipe anyways. So as a comparison to this wet set concrete pad, I'm going to show you the dry set concrete pad on the other side. Alright, so this is the current concrete pad where the furnace sits on. I still need to disconnect things here, but you can see that I can, just with my foot and my fingers, I can crack up the dry set concrete. So this is really not strong at all. Now, arguably, some might say you don't need a concrete pad for a furnace, right? Because just put some concrete footings on every corner and call it a day. I did this a year ago, 2 years ago actually, because this furnace used to be in the woodshed. And the trouble I ran into is that my border collies love to dig, and they actually dug out the footings to a degree that this entire furnace would fall out of level. Like, it was literally leaning massively, like 10 degrees maybe. It was really something. So this concrete pad primarily exists so that I don't have to worry that my dogs might dig it up. Right? And yeah, exactly. You dog, eh? You dog. Woohoo! Alright, so with this done, I'll freshen up a bit and then we'll continue with the pipe installation. The concrete pad is curing nicely, and now I need to start digging, and one piece I need to do by hand, and well, you'll just see the done deed in a second, but for now let me show you how this is going to go. Exactly, Charlie. So I put a red marker here because I need to account for the bending radius of this pipe. So basically it'll run here below the deck, and I need to hand dig this about 7 meters. And then from here I can get the excavator, and I need to follow the marked lines here roughly, because on the right hand side we have our septic tank, which I don't want to fix, so I don't want to break it. So basically just following along with barely any quick movements to make sure the pipe stays fine. And then here, because the plan is eventually to redo the workshop here to make it, well, a big shop, I will try to stay as far away from that side as I can, which is why the red markers here basically get as close to the woodshed as I can. There we go, just following along. And then we will make a nice half circle here to connect to this piece here, right? And then the pipe will come up here and connect to the heater. So I'll get the excavator, dig 5 feet down where I can start digging myself, and then I will hand dig 15-20 feet, which won't be fun, but it has to be done. So the basic connection to the house is done. I'll show you. Oh, you don't want to do these things twice, so. This section here is what I started with the excavator. It's roughly 5 feet deep. And then it goes up to about 2 feet at the house, because at that height is the old opening, which we're going to reuse. Time to dig the rest of it, but now comes the easy part. Excavatoring. Finally. Alright, I crawled through the entire trench. It's amazing. I'm like 176 and the majority of this trench is as high as I am, which should be at least 5 feet. The cable will be buried, or the heating pipe. Now, what I need to do now is I need to remove the outer protective layer from the rhinoflex as long as I need to basically push it into the house. So I did a crude measurement with some paint and an old leftover pipe. I need about this much stick out to get through the wall and to the other side where I need to connect it. So let's get started preparing the pipe. I only need to do this on one side, because the other side I need to measure and cut off when the furnace is here and I exactly know how long it needs to be. After I've done this, I can get the heating pipe into the ground and connect it to the house, or push it through the wall at the house. And once that is done, I can get the conduit and install the electric line. And also I got myself a long 300 feet PEX B for water to the shop. I'm going to put this into the ground too. I won't be able to use it in winter time because it will come out at the furnace. But you know, you can't have everything. And to me, this is already a great start, because then I can hand dig something to the workshop and have water again. So let's get started. So after some prying, I've decided that I will probably not be able to get this into a position in which I want it to, just by rotating it, because I can't on my own. So what I'll do instead, and I think that'll work just fine, is I will just change the cutout on the wall and change the connectors inside. Much easier than rotating 140 foot of pipe. Hey, plus the distance between the two pipes is a little bit smaller than what used to be in the wall anyways, so I'll have to change the cutout in any case. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Yay! Alright, pipe is through the wall, as you can see, and I can clean it up here, and now there are just two things missing: hole for conduit and the hole for the water. As you can see, water pipe, conduit, heating pipe, all installed. Now I can finally pull the lines. Alright, time to get that pipe in, because everything else I can pull through now. Always something. So I have about 5 feet too little pipe for the trench I dug, because I made a nice swing here way past the pad, and I have to start that swing actually here, which means I need to close up this area here and then actually start the curve way earlier and end up at the pad. That should work, which means the pipe stays here for a second and I just glue the conduit and whatnot together, and then we can continue here with a little bit more of excavating. Alright, nearly done. I'll take you along for a quick air quotes checkup. Right again, right? Heating pipe, conduit for electricity, water line for summertime use. That's all it is. Looks good, and I'll place you here every now and then and put some dirt on it. Alright, so mostly on the ground. Which means I can start getting my baby and closing it in. I won't be closing it all the way. I'll only close it until here. For a very simple reason: I need to dig by hand a little bit here at the end. Because I need this piece to come up straight. That's the only thing I need to change, which means a little bit digging here to make the bow. But I'll close it up all the way to that point. So, what a day. Alright, another day on the outdoor boiler project. Yesterday my battery died, so you didn't get to see me do an okay job fixing the pipe. The only thing that I need to do today, it's not too much, hopefully. This is the old boiler, which I'll keep using. I just need to disconnect the hydronic lines and the power, and then I'll use the skid steer to lift it out of here. So I think that should be plenty, because, well, planning, this cutout here should really have been here, which I didn't account for. So now I can bend this to the right place easily, which is good. And I moved the furnace back a bit so that I should be able to just come up straight here. So that's also good. Which means I can get started hooking this thing back up. Finally. So I think the biggest thing I can mess up here is giving myself too little pipe to work with. So I'm going to cut it here, which means I have about 2 feet extra, which I won't be using. And then I already know I'll have to cut it back because the connector is on this height and the other one is on this height. However, one thing at a time. So for now I'll just cut it off here because that is too much for sure. And then we'll just see where it ends. Two new compression fittings connected and tight. I mean as tight as I can be in here. So I'll film the outdoor ones better because this one has no footage whatsoever. Suffice it to say, the inside is connected. Finally. Holy shit! Plumbing is actually really hard. Just knowing where to cut those pipes and bending them. Plumbers are real athletes. So for the last step, the last one, we just need, well, I'm lying. We need one more step after. Anyways, now I need to get the electric power line over through the conduit here. And for that, I actually got myself a helper, because I need somebody to make sure that the wire I'm going to pull through, to pull the conduit through the conduit. Well, I guess you know what I mean. I don't have it on a nice spool, so my wife will help me make sure that when I suck this through with the vacuum on the other side, it doesn't tangle up. I don't know if you will hear this on the video, but on the other side of the conduit is a vacuum sucking. So I have my plastic bag and I'll tie a string line to it and have it suck through, and then I use that string line to pull my conduit. Cable, whatever. As you can see, I'm not an electrician.
Also no plumber.
And no plumber, but you will see this when you watch this video. It's actually quite funny. I like to buy tools because most of these things I know I will always have a use for them. Plumbing has never been something I thought I would do ever. So I don't have anything to pressure test the system. I just fill it up with water and let it run for a few days and see if anything leaks, hopefully not. And I'm just missing so many tools a plumber would have. Like this thing here I had to borrow. Like, my wife doesn't know it yet, but there are lots of expenses coming for plumbing. Whoa. Still too big. Well, I thought that's a big pipe. Turns out it's a small pipe. It's a 1-inch pipe. Okay. Oh, I have suction. All right, moment of truth. You can hear the vacuum. Ooh. Well, that thing has been hard at work. Whew. A string line! Okay, now we know. Alright, so here's the last step. So this is the electric cable. I'll tie it to this end of the cable and then I'll just pull this through. I'm not going to tell you how hard it was for us to get that conduit filled with the cable. We managed to sneak it through.
We got it! We got it.
With the best redneck way, because I didn't have 150 feet rope. So... Oh, Emma, now you're on YouTube. So we just connected... we connected 2 ropes with cable and it worked! We got power. You can hear the pump, but she's running empty because I didn't fill the water. So, time to shut her off with the flick of a switch. Power is gone. Pump is out. Alright, so much longer than I expected, and I'm still horrible at really recording good YouTube videos. So I'm sorry, I did my best. I'll make up in cutting. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll keep you posted in a few weeks once I know if this thing is leaking again or not. It better not.